We are breaking into our normal scheduled coverage to bring you breaking news out of Idaho. In the quadruple murder of 4 university students, the suspect is in custody. Now, according to our source, a man was arrested in Pennsylvania. Now, we do not know anything else about his identity, but the Moscow Police Department is holding a press conference today at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. local time. Now, officials from the state police, the city of Moscow, and the University of Idaho will be present. Now, these developments come as a cleaning crew has been scheduled to come into the crime scene today, according to police. Now, roommates Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Zana Kernodle, and Kernodle's boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, were all stabbed to death in the girls' off-campus house in the early hours of November 13th. All right, joining us now on the phone is Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter. Chanley, now you were in Moscow. You covered this case basically from the beginning. I know you've been in contact with some of your sources. What are they telling you?
Yeah, Michael, great to be with you. This is huge news. 6 weeks in the making since the mass murder there in Idaho, and we are learning that a suspect has been arrested in eastern Pennsylvania, according to an official. So arrest paperwork has been filed by Pennsylvania State Police in Monroe County Court. 28-year-old Brian Kohlberger was being held for extradition in a criminal homicide investigation based on an active arrest warrant for first-degree murder. This was issued by the Moscow Police Department and the Latah County Prosecutor's Office. So we have confirmed that 28-year-old Brian Kohlberger has been arrested for the first-degree murder in relation to the 4 students who were slain at the University of Idaho November the 13th. This is huge news because they're going to have the press conference later today, 4 p.m. Eastern, Michael, to make this announcement, but we're confirming ahead of time. So now it's what else will we learn from this press conference after this huge arrest has been made after weeks of saying they did not even have a suspect identified, Michael. Now they have an arrest today.
Yeah, exactly. As of yesterday, there was a press release by the local police department in Moscow saying that a suspect had not been identified. Here we are today at about 12 noon, finding out that, in fact, an arrest has been made. What else do we know, if anything, about the suspect in this case?
Sure. Well, we're learning. We have so many people trying to search for information according to now that we know a name that has been confirmed. And so we are learning that this Brian Kohlberger is someone who was a PhD student at Washington State University. That I want to give you some context because where the murders happened is the University of Idaho in Moscow, Idaho. But only 20 minutes away, we have Washington State University in Pullman, Washington. So according to what we've been able to find, this Brian Kohlberger, a PhD student at WSU in Pullman, is listed there. He's a grad student of the Department of Criminal Justice and Criminology there. There's a photo listed of him as a student. So that's a possibility of someone that we believe to be the one that was arrested in Pennsylvania, which is interesting that it's someone that was local. If that's correct, someone that's local, someone that was a student there, not far from the University of Idaho, Michael. So we're still digging in, trying to figure out all these details currently as I'm talking to you.
All right, Chanley, stand by because I do want to bring in here in studio with me Judge Ashley Wilcott. We here at the studio and here in the home offices have been following this case, been baffled by this case. Now we have an arrest, Judge, and it's a gentleman who now went to a school that was about 20 minutes away. At least that's what the records suggest. We had been speculating if this was something, well, the police have said it was targeted, if this person knew them. This certainly makes it possible that there was some relationship.
Absolutely. So first of all, 6 weeks in, Michael, we've talked about, I'm just thankful that they've followed the evidence. I'm assuming over the 6 weeks to name a suspect. That's the first step, right? Innocent until found guilty. But here's the thing about this suspect. 6 weeks in, I think that it is likely that there's a relationship, Michael, between these 4 students and this person somehow contact knowledge. This is not, I think, a random stalking or a random act of violence. I think there's got to be a relationship. The other thing I must say is his age, and ironic to me about his field of study, criminology. I saw you taking notes. I think it was criminology, but Michael, right? PhD in that. And what is all that about? So yes, I think there's got to be a relationship.
All right, Chanley, do we have any sense at all, and again, I know the details are sketchy at the moment, do we have any sense at all, because from the beginning, as I said, the police have said that this was a targeted attack, which suggests that there was some relationship between one or more of the victims and, I guess at this point, this Brian Kohlberger. Do we know anything more about the possibility of a relationship, or what led police to this suspect?
Right. We hope to find out more later today in this press conference, but Ashley makes a great point that he is quite a bit older than the victims in this case. He's 28. He's a PhD candidate at a different school close by, but I mean, it's like kind of one town. I've been there for several weeks, and it's so close together. It's like one town, even though it's on the border of Washington and Idaho where these two would be. And my question is, what does he drive a white Hyundai Elantra? You know, there's so many questions I hope that they answer later this afternoon in that press conference. But as of right now, we don't know if there's any relationship between this suspect that was arrested and the 4 victims. Was there some sort of connection? We hope to find out. But we do know that this was a targeted attack. That's been a constant and consistent theme that the authorities have told Court TV, have told the media throughout the 6 weeks. There was one point where they said they don't know if it was actually the residence, the home, that was targeted, or the occupants inside the home, but nonetheless, it was a targeted attack. This is an area in Moscow where this home is, where a lot of students at the University of Idaho live. It's literally steps from campus, Fraternity Row, the surrounding apartment complexes and homes at this crime scene are full of students and people that live there and work there. They're really close. So it's interesting to me. I want to know how this PhD candidate student from 20 minutes away would have a relation there at that particular home or neighborhood, or more likely, it seems to me, it would be a connection with one of the students or someone that lived, one of the victims inside that home, Michael.
Now, Chanley, as far as we knew, today, Friday, was a day that the authorities, according to their press release, were going in to do a cleanup, even though they still had it marked off as a crime scene, the home where this crime happened. They were going in for a cleanup today. Tell us about that.
That's right. So we did, like you mentioned, they released the Moscow Police Department, which released press updates occasionally. They released one yesterday saying that they were going to be sending in a cleaning crew because it is obviously a crime scene. This is a property that is rented out to students, and they want, of course, to come in and clean and make it so that they can continue to rent it out again. And so yesterday, the police department did say that today they would be starting. A cleaning crew would come in and start making, because of all the testing materials. When they go in and they spray things to test certain things, those chemicals to clean the property up so that it could be, closed up and moved on, which I think was a telltale sign, right, of this is coming to some sort of close. Like they had some answers where they could finally start to release this crime scene, Michael.
Yeah, that was exactly the reaction I had to it when they gave that press release yesterday. I said something might be breaking here at some point soon, and sure enough, today. Judge Ashley, you know what shocked me about this arrest was that this is clear across the country. This suspect was arrested in Pennsylvania, which is literally across the country. I'm not sure you can get further away from Idaho.
Right, I think it's 2,000 miles. That stood out to me. Here's my guess, and I would have said before we knew more information, I said, I bet it's a student or a former student who's run home. And so that's still what I'm going to guess, my opinion only, is that we know he was a PhD student 20 minutes from University of Idaho, and I suspect he's from Pennsylvania or he has family there and he ran to his home. But I have to mention on the cleanup crew, can I just say this, that earlier today I was talking with our producers, our Court TV team in the control room about the fact they were cleaning it up, and I said, I cannot believe they would clean up the crime scene if they don't have suspects or if this is a cold case, because no way would I think it would be cleaned up in that instance. It's still a little surprising to me they're already cleaning it up, but it makes more sense now to me, Michael, knowing someone's been arrested.
Yeah, Judge, I thought the same thing. It's like, why clean it up? Even if you have a suspect or have suspects in mind, you would think they want to preserve the crime scene for as long as they possibly can. But again, we'll hopefully find out more about that today. Chanley, I know you spent quite a bit of time, weeks on the ground there in Moscow. Can you tell us or have any sense of how that community might feel about the making of an arrest? I know you talked to many residents out there, went out with police. There was some trepidation for folks, and they were worried about this. So how do you think they're feeling about this arrest?
Oh my, I'm sure there's a huge sense of relief. And I think the timing of this arrest is also important, Michael. They didn't wait until, after the new year. They made this arrest now while the students are gone. They're on winter break, holiday break. The students don't return to the campus until January 11th. So I think this was also important for the community as well. Students away, make this arrest so they can start this new semester, the spring semester, with this sense of some sort of closure. There's not, hopefully, a mass murderer still on the loose in that community, because you're right. I've been there a couple of times for weeks, and you can just feel this fog over the community that everyone is on edge. Businesses would close before dark so that their employees could get to their homes and lock themselves inside their home before dark. That's how scared this community was, with so many unanswered questions and just such an unconscionable crime. 4 young people taken brutally, stabbed multiple times. So yes, I'm sure this is huge relief. Part of this community, they can parents can send their students back to campus now this semester with this sense of safety and closure. However, Michael, with our true crime minds, are there any more people involved? Will there be other arrests? That's kind of what's on my mind right now. What else will we find out in this press conference?
Yes, absolutely. Judge, I was going to ask you exactly that. Does this to you suggest that they believe this might be the only guy? Or with the nature and brutality of the crime, I always felt maybe there was more than one. Any sense of that?
I think they think it's one. I'm not sure I'm convinced.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right. Well, Judge Ashley Wilcott, thank you so much for joining me here on set. Chanley Painter, thank you so much for helping us here report on this incredible breaking news now. We will have more on this breaking news out of Idaho. Again, Moscow police will be holding a press conference at 4 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. local time, and we will have live updates throughout the day.